Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Absolute Falcon Cinema. In case y'all are new here, I'm your host, Caleb, and today I wanted to focus on a man who goes by the name of Ryan Coogler. In case y'all don't know who that is, Ryan Coogler is a phenomenal film director who is making waves in the film industry right now. And his filmography includes a selection of movies that I have seen and that I really love that I wanted to pit against each other in a ranking that I'm going to do for y'all today. He has directed movies like Black Panther, Creed, the legacy sequel to the original Rocky movie, and most recently, his first original work called Sinners, a movie that I saw in theaters this past spring. Starting with his directorial debut, because that is the most recent Ryan Coogler movie I have seen, I watched Fruitvale Station in preparation for this podcast. It is the one movie in his filmography that I have not seen up to this point, and one that I have been avoiding for a while, mostly just because it's based on a true story, and those kinds of movies that are like really sad stories about violence are movies that I tend to avoid a lot of the time because I can't separate the cinema from the reality because it's based on an event that actually happened. And just that feeling in my mind, like, oh, this actually happened, is not a very pleasant one, in my opinion. And while there are some movies that are great cinema that are also based on a true story, such as like war movies like Dunkirk and Oppenheimer, a lot of Christopher Nolan movies based on real events are ones that I'm a fan of. And Fruitvale Station, while it's not the most pleasant watch, I feel like it is a movie that justifies its existence because of the remarkable performances by Michael B. Jordan and Octavia Spencer, and really everybody involved. I think it's an exceptional directorial debut, and it deserved the awards it won at the Sundance Film Festival in 2013. Fruitvale Station focuses on a black man who was murdered back in 2009, and it focuses on his life and specifically his relationship between him and his daughter and him and his wife and his mother, and just the way that he impacts the lives of the people around him. And I think it was a really captivating story where the movie opens off with footage of the actual event. So you know that this person is going to get killed, but you still end up building empathy towards the character and start to understand his situation. Michael B. Jordan's character is just a father that's trying to survive in the streets and protect his family and care for them. And you get to see throughout the film that he really cares about his daughter, spends as much time as possible with her, and also his wife, trying to get a job to support them, despite the fact that they're struggling a little bit with rent. And it's a really moving depiction of events because of the heart that Michael B. Jordan gives to the film and also the emotional depth that Octavia Spencer provides to the film as well. She is Michael B. Jordan's character's mother, and I think Octavia Spencer is a character with such range and can be a very powerful voice at times. So she really delivers this performance really effectively and supports the movie in the same way that Michael B. Jordan is kind of like the heart of it. She is the power behind the story. That is what I thought of Fruitvale Station. I thought it was an exceptional directorial debut, really well shot as well. It's very somber and it's shot mostly with shaky cams, which sounds like a little disorienting. Shaky cam was a style of directing, um, basically putting the camera without a rig and it just being handheld. And you watch the movie and it's kind of disorienting the way that it's very shaky and like not very level like a steady cam would be. but I think it really adds to the viscerality of the filmmaking and the basically shakiness of the whole situation around the shooting and just the tragedy that is rooted in systemic racism and police brutality. And it's conveyed really well in the filmmaking, for sure. I also wanted to compliment the music. Ludwig Göransson is the composer of the soundtrack. And in case y'all don't know who that is, he is one of my favorite composers of all time. He works regularly in Ryan Coogler's projects. I think he has scored most of all of his films. And I really like him for his more electric movie scores, the way that he incorporates so many different instruments and is able to basically convey so many emotions that the directors or the so many emotions that the actors really can't. And he really complements their performances in great ways throughout basically all of Ryan Coogler's filmography. And I think his score in Fruitvale Station is a bit more laid back, a bit more somber, but it really adds to the mood. I feel like there are also times where it's very unsteady and very um very tension building, and it really highlights the effectiveness of the cinematography and of the performances. And I think Ludwig Göransson did a really great job in Fruitvale Station. As far as where the ranking goes, I think I'm going to save it for a little bit later because, again, it's the most recent movie I've seen and I haven't really touched on the other films yet. So we will get to that ranking when we get past the other movies. Now, the movie that Ryan Coogler directed after Fruitvale Station was Creed, which is the legacy sequel to the original Rocky movie, also starring Michael B. Jordan. I believe that Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler are good friends because Michael B. Jordan is in every single one of Ryan Coogler's films, another regular collaborator on Ryan Coogler's projects. And this movie has a bit of a bigger budget than the last one. And this movie, I think, really turned what could have just been another like cash grab legacy sequel into a really powerful story of perseverance against oppression that really solidifies Ryan Coogler's expertise in making films based on source material because he treats the original Rocky with the utmost respect while also uplifting what the original Rocky represented in the most spectacular fashion in a way that I feel like very few filmmakers can actually do. Michael B. Jordan and Sylvester Stallone have a lot of really great chemistry in this film. I think the action scenes are really well shot. The script is very tight and very well written, and the performances are incredible. All around, Creed is a very entertaining film. One of the movies that got me into the subgenre of boxing films and how incredible they can be at great character studies and great action films without being a overtly violent nature. And Creed, to me, is the underdog of Ryan Coogler's filmography in the way that a lot of people don't really talk about it that much anymore. But I think it is still just as exceptional as the movies that came after it. Ludwig Göransson once again comes back to score this, and he does a remarkable job at fusing elements of the original iconic music of Rocky, fusing elements of that into a new flavor of music that is a bit richer and a bit more relevant and modern. Michael B. Jordan, once again, knocks it out of the park. He plays Adonis Creed, which in the story, he is the direct descendant of Apollo Creed, which is the original opponent of Rocky in the first movie. And I think this creates a very compelling conflict where Creed is trying to make a name for himself despite being overshadowed by the legacy of his natural born father. And he learns throughout the movie that making a name for yourself doesn't mean that you have to forfeit the name of your ancestors. And he can rise above the shadow of his father if he works hard enough and he perseveres enough to stay in the ring and train in order to do his very best. The action in the movie is a little bit lacking. It's a little bit, or no, it's a little bit sparse, but the training montages and the sequences of Rocky training Creed and Creed also responding to Rocky when he is of old age and he is struggling gives the film its source of power and source of entertainment. You watch those sequences and you're like rooting for the characters actively while also being a little concerned for Rocky because he's at old age. But the one of the most powerful scenes in the movie to me is when Rocky is confronting Creed about his cancer, and Creed is like, no, dude, you have to get it treated. You have to go to the doctor and you have to get this tumor out of you. And he says, if I fight, then you fight as well. And I think that really shows the chemistry between the two characters, and it really shows how exceptional the screenplay is as well. And all around, Creed is just a highly entertaining and just really enjoyable film for just about anybody that loves a good boxing movie or a good sports movie or is just a fan of the original Rocky. And this movie really showcases the way that a legacy sequel can elevate the original source material and really reinvigorate the energy of the original into a new generation. And I think that Creed is a movie that is underrated nowadays, but one that people should be talking about more. A movie that isn't underrated, however, is Ryan Coogler's next feature, Black Panther. I'm sure many of y'all have heard of this film. It is basically Ryan Coogler's biggest movie to date and one that was kind of a unexpected success. It made waves in the film industry, really influenced a lot of superhero movies coming out today, and really just made a big cultural impact as well. A lot of people respected the way that the film is one of the first multi-million dollar films to have a cast of mostly African American people. And I think that is really phenomenal. And I think that Black Panther as a character, a comic book character, really challenges the structuring of modern blockbusters as a white male lead usually is the face of most movies. In Black Panther, it was one of the first movies to outright challenge that on a scale as large as it was. Black Panther is a film filled with exceptional performances and really great screenwriting. Ryan Coogler, as has already been established, is an exceptional screenwriter and an exceptional director. And while this movie takes a little bit more of a formulaic approach, again, it was produced by Marvel, and everything under their name is of a certain flavor. I think that it excels at what it's trying to do, which is providing an avenue to people that is an Afrofuturist exploration of the culture and how we can incorporate more diversity into cinema. And I think that's really remarkable. Despite its flaws, I think that Black Panther really cements its place in the history of 2010 cinema as really one of the greatest accomplishments a director has ever had. And what makes Ryan Coogler's whole career so insane is how he was able to grow just from 3 movies into becoming a household name with just 3 movies, and I like, very few directors can do that in this industry. Typically, you have to rise up the ranks, or you're a new director that just happens to be picked up by a studio by chance, and after 1 movie that is, like, either, like, a sequel with, like, a multi-million-dollar budget or just, like, a movie that just doesn't do well, your career is basically just canned. But Ryan Coogler was able to establish himself as a trustworthy director and also one that can deliver on really great and entertaining cinema. Black Panther is arguably the highest achievement that he has made in his filmography. And I think that is a movie that will be remembered for generations to come as basically one of the most important films of the 21st century in general. It does have some flaws, as I mentioned earlier. I think the CGI in Black Panther looks atrocious. I think that the CGI artists did not have enough time to finish especially the final battle of this film. Some of it does look pretty bad, but I don't think that if you look past that, you will see that Black Panther has these little moments of greatness that really echo throughout film's history in the 21st century. In particular, I when I think of Black Panther, I think of Killmonger, who once again played by Michael B. Jordan, uh, is one of the greatest villains in pretty much any superhero movie I've seen in the past 10 years. And the reason why he's such a great villain is because his ideology is somewhat justified. I think that he's not just a big, like, Thanos, like, big baddie that the heroes have to take down. I think he challenges the beliefs of T'Challa, played by Chadwick Boseman, and he really brings up a lot of great points. Like, if you have all of this nation with a bunch of power, enough power to liberate people that are oppressed throughout the world, why not do that? And I think that his whole ideology was spurred on by a lot of people on social media. Like, they agreed with him. And I think that is something that brought about growth in the main character. And I think that any villain or any plot point in a story that allows the main character to grow is one that adds to the quality of the story. And I think that Black Panther overall does that super well. And Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace, gave a career defining performance as well as Michael B. Jordan. And I think they are the two elements that I really love about this movie, their performances as well as the world. I think the world of Wakanda is super fleshed out, and all of the different tribes and all of their costume designs. Like, this is a really big movie, not just because it's a Marvel movie. It's a movie that represents this entire made up culture, this Afrofuturist culture that is really well designed and really well executed in the film. And I could go on and on about Black Panther, how despite its flaws, I have this deep love for it. And I think that it has these moments of greatness throughout. But I have to move on to Coogler's second most recent movie, which is the sequel to Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Now, this film is, I think, the most challenging project that any filmmaker in the past few years has had to tackle because it followed Chadwick Boseman's death, which he, in many ways, was the symbol of Black Panther and the heart of the whole film. So, without his presence there, how do you go about making a sequel to that film? The answer is a little bit complicated. You add another culture of water people based on the Mayan culture, which I think that Namor in particular is an incredible villain, maybe even rivaling Killmonger, but I won't say that for sure right now. And Shuri, one of the main characters of Black Panther, assumes the moniker of Black Panther in this film, which led to a lot of mixed opinions. But I find the fact that Ryan Coogler was able to release a film like this that not only honored Chadwick Boseman's legacy, but also continued the story arc of Black Panther in general, and it not being a total failure is amazing. Despite how you feel about the movie, you cannot understate Ryan Coogler's immense contribution to the success of this project. And I think that Wakanda Forever, while it's not nearly as good as the first one, it does offer some really great moments of characters mourning the loss of Chadwick Boseman and or of T'Challa in the film and really learning to move on with their grief and basically open a new chapter in this nation's history. And this film has better CGI than the first one for sure. It is the Ryan Coogler movie that is the least clear in my mind because I went and saw it in theaters back in 2022, and I actually haven't rewatched it since. I've rewatched all these movies except for Wakanda Forever. So I don't have a lot of strong opinions about it, but I still think that it's a really great and really underestimated movie in the way that Ryan Coogler was able to pull it off with so much success. And now I want to talk about Ryan Coogler's most recent movie, Sinners, which is an insanely awesome film. It is his first original work, as I mentioned earlier, and he wrote this historical fiction story that is also a musical and also a vampire horror film. So it's a bit of a genre blending of all of these. And it is a movie that I think I will tell this story of how I saw this film for years to come, maybe even to like my kids. But there was something about watching Sinners on a giant IMAX screen opening weekend that really changed my life and blew my mind. There is one scene in particular, if y'all have seen the movie, you probably know which one, that really just like brought me to tears and also just like led me to just like stand there in awe of the power of movies and the way that Ryan Coogler is able to create all these strong emotions and tie them into an honoring of culture and just turn that into an explosion of creativity that is really not seen very often in modern blockbusters. Sinners is a remarkable masterpiece and one that I will remember for many years to come and how life changing it was to watch it. And I think it's only going to get better with time. Now, on to the ranking of all of these movies. All five of these movies. Ryan Coogler, as I haven't really mentioned, I didn't really mention this before, but he has a short but incredibly sweet filmography. 5 movies that left a massive cultural impact on the film industry in the past couple years, and ones that are like consistently great. So this ranking is going to be a little bit difficult. I think in last place, I'm going to put Wakanda Forever in fifth. Wakanda Forever resides in fifth place. I kind of feel bad putting it here because it's the least clear in my mind, but I think that it's for the bottom of the list, it's still like a 7 out of 10 movie, like still a really, really remarkable achievement. And I think next I'm going to put Fruitvale Station in fourth place, a really great directorial debut, one that I feel like is based on a tragedy that I find a little bit hard to watch, but I think it really justifies its existence through the powerful performances and the honoring of the family that it's based on. In third place, this is difficult. I really love Creed and I really love Black Panther. Black Panther is a movie I've seen more times than Creed, so I feel like I should put Creed here, but I think I'm going to put Black Panther. It's a flawed but wonderful film that I find that the cultural zeitgeist is still reeling from the success and the remarkable nature of the film. So that's why I'm putting Black Panther in third place. In second place, I think I'm going to put Creed. Creed is a movie I found to be really inspiring, super entertaining, and just having a lot of energy, a lot of great performances, and one that I just find to be super rewatchable. I love the boxing matches, and I love the direction that Ryan Coogler took that basically transformed this from what could have been just another cash grab into an a respectful and remarkable legacy sequel. And in first place, I'm sure none of y'all expected this. I'm saying it sarcastically, but I'm going to put Sinners in first place. I think that it's a film that I found to be really special, one that I think is my favorite movie I've seen this year. Thus far, it's still November. My favorite movie I've seen this year, and one that is going to be in my list of like my favorite movies of all time for many, many years, and one that I will look back on very fondly. So yeah, there's my ranking. Wakanda Forever, fifth place. Fruitvale Station, fourth place. Black Panther, third place. Creed, second place. And Sinners in first place. This is all my opinion, by the way. If you think that Black Panther should have been higher or Sinners should have been lower, it's your opinion, and I'm all for that. But yeah, I really enjoyed ranking these movies as hard as it was, and I really appreciate y'all tuning in and listening to me talk about these movies for a little bit. I hope y'all learned something new about my taste in movies, and hopefully, if you haven't seen any of these movies, I encouraged you to check all of them out. And if you want to check out any of my previous episodes, they are linked in Falcon News Network's channel. And until I release my next episode, this has been some Absolute Falcon Cinema. I've been your host, Caleb. And in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Take care.